the February 27th, 2025 Halifax Conservation Committee meeting being held in the Selectmen's Room. I want to make an announcement that the Conservation meeting will be recorded by Area 58 and can be viewed on YouTube. Members present would be Ed Lane, Alan Diaz, and Paul Dessett. First order of business is 0 Montponsa Street, map 95, lot 10, DEP number SE 1710586. This is on an order and special order conditions. The plan for this property was just received Monday, so I'm looking for a continuance to continue this till 3/11, March 11th, so that we can issue the order of conditions.
I put a motion that we continue 0 Montponsa Street to 311.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 0 Montponsa Street, stormwater management hearing. Again, we made a decision last week that that application was ready to move forward. That hearing has been scheduled until 3/11. I don't need a vote. I don't need a vote on that. Okay. 111 River Street, we have an NOI for the amended order of conditions, DEP number SE 1710584. That matter has been continued based for the applicant, the applicant requested that it be continued to 3/11. I will need a motion to allow that continuance.
Put a motion that we continue 111 River Street to 311.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 16 Old Summit Street. Judge Collins? Okay. I'll hold on to that for a minute. That hearing was scheduled tonight. I don't know, there might be some confusion. Okay. New review consultant is actually off the agenda. That's going to be coming in on 3/25. Caitlin will be sending everybody his resume via email. Discussions and actions to be taken. 591 Ponce Street, just to bring the board up to date. The NOI has been submitted for that, notice of intent, and the stormwater management portion of that has also been circulated. We don't have all the responses back because it needs 14 days, so we won't take any action on the stormwater management portion until we receive all of the reviews back from the various boards. Okay, next item on the agenda is we had a little confusion this week regarding 590 Montponsa Street. The engineer wanted to do some test pits in the retention basin, which was 50 feet from the pond. And so I suggested that in order to do that, they needed to file with the commission. And I got a bunch of emails back that activity was exempt under the Wetlands Protection Act, which it is, but it does require a filing under our local bylaw. So that's why it's on the agenda. 25 A Street, DEP number SE 1710553. Do we have anybody here for that? We don't. This request was for a certificate of compliance. They're looking to sign off, but we did have some questions on the wood that was deposited there. I spoke with Caitlin this morning about it. I'm going to ask that we get a motion to continue this to our next meeting.
Put a motion that we continue 25 A Street to 311.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next order of business, 318 Plymouth Street, map 63, lot 6C, DEP number SE 1710555, request for a certificate of compliance. Good evening. Do you mind identifying yourself for the record?
Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
I brought presents.
Okay.
It's the same things that you have already seen. Good evening, Rebecca from Silver Engineering.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Mr. Collins, we did call you already.
Oh,
Meeting starts at 7. We move fast. So I'm going to hold this hearing, and then we'll get back to you. Okay? Okay. Good, I'm sorry.
It's okay, no problem. We're here to request the certificate of compliance.
Just identify yourself for the record.
But I'll do it again.
Yes, please.
Rebecca from Silver Engineering for the request of certificate of compliance for 1710555. I'm not going to say the address because it confuses everybody. So we're just going to go by DEP number. This DEP number for the notice of intent was for test pits and soil borings on the properties that are shown here. This was the plan that accompanied the notice of intent when we did it. Okay. Since this notice of intent, we completed perk tests on, 314 Plymouth Street. As part of the notice of intent, we completed them up here, and soil borings for what is now 318 were completed, and the area is marked in red. So we are asking for a completion because we've completed the work and no longer need this notice for this activity.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Not for this action, no. I will not like to add anything for this request.
I'm just going to toll the board. Ed, any questions on this? We did a site visit, so if you want Paul to go first.
Yeah, you guys can obviously chime in on
You
this.
any comments on this, Paul? Just so that the audience just knows, we did a site visit the other day on this particular property because there was some confusion as to what was being done and obviously confusion on the property itself. And I agree that the work that was proposed was not done. They did something a little different, which is fine. They had a squared-in area for test pits. Out of that bottom area, I think you probably did 6 borings and no test
We
pits.
proposed these locations for each of the buildings, but we didn't actually complete all of those locations. It was proposed, we might go here.
Okay.
That's what all those little rectangles represent, possibility. So the other one that I just showed represented what we actually completed.
Okay. She also provided the test boring results that were done in that particular area. We did have multiple conversations about the site, and I think that we did make a request for clarification on the notes. The notes on the plan, when I reviewed them, and I think some of the members agree, were kind of confusing, and we needed an explanation on the notes. If you want, I can read the notes into the record, or do you want to read them?
This little note up here?
The notes up there that indicate that the INRAD was, or the wetlands line is good through January of 2023?
Oh, this one up here under plan references?
Correct.
Okay, so this one says the wetland delineation completed by Michelle Grenier in July of 2015, approved by the Conservation Commission, DEP number SE 1710474, expires January 26, 2023. Now, I would like to point out that this plan made note and was signed September 2022. Why that's important is because I did take a moment, a very long moment, actually, today, to give you the timeline that you had requested. And this timeline and the documentations that I'm going to hand to you indicate that this wetland line through the COVID extension was good until January 26, 2023. Before that time, we filed the notice of intent, which continues the process of the wetland line until April 11th, 2026. Every letter, every request, every recorded information is there.
Okay. The problem I have is that, you made one for each copy.
I mean, your copies.
Okay. Problem that I have personally with this is that I believe this information, I knew you couldn't have put it in at the posting of the agenda, but I think it's a little unfair for us
I'm
to...
not asking for, again, my action here tonight was ask for closeout of this DEP number.
Okay.
This, I'm willing to come back and you can mill it over, you can chew on it, and then we can come back and discuss it.
I think the conversation that we had the other day was if you had established that section was correct, and this wetlands line was good for, I think, 8 years. I think that was my concern, and I think we had discussed that if you establish that it was, then we're okay. I think the commission's difficulty is with the notes on the plan. That plan was submitted with the NOI, so it is, let me just finish. So it's on record. You've got a wetlands area that's on record that we have a little bit of dispute on. And where that is recorded, and you want us to sign off, I'm not comfortable with the fact that that language is correct. This might state it, but you got a whole lot of paperwork here for us to review.
Would you like to table this until you have a chance to review that?
Yes, I think that would be appropriate. I do want to read into the record, though, that that the agent had reviewed this, and I'll read this. The Dear Commission members, this was received today. Chair Diaz, Member Doucette, and I conducted a site visit for the RCOC application for 318 Plymouth Street on Tuesday, February 25th at 2 p.m. We met Rebecca Baptista from Silver Engineering to discuss test pits and perk test locations that were advanced on the site. Based on our site visit and discussions with Ms. Baptista, it is my recommendation that the RCOC is approved and signed by the commission. The test pits and perk tests were conducted in compliance with what was approved by the commission under DEP filing number SE 171055. So,
Unfortunately, I do agree with Ms. Putt that the object that we're here for is 0555, not the notice of intent for the storage facility, which is a different DEP number.
correct.
So,
The initial problem that we had is we have 3 DEP numbers on,
understood. I looked them all up.
I'm not sure which sites, we're not sure which sites that they're on, so that's what created the confusion. But I think the commission would appreciate the fact to take a look at this and review it. So if you would like to continue this, then I think it would be a plus for all of us so that we could
I'd
review.
be okay with it and sign off, but I agree with the extension of time so you can read all that boring information.
Okay, so you don't have a problem with filing a request for extension?
Please.
Okay.
For the next meeting, or?
Let me, I'm just going to take some comments. I don't know, I got 6 hearings for the next meeting.
I know.
So let me just see if I got any comments from the audience.
Understood.
And,
But I did want to say I brought you your other present.
okay, that's on the other one. Okay, I'll take that. Paul, you don't mind putting that over
No, I
there.
don't
Thank
hold
you.
it. Thank you.
Okay, let me just double check. We got an audience here, so let me just see if anybody's got any comments. Anybody got any comments on this particular 3, what are we calling this one?
It currently has an address of 318. Again, I recommend that we refer to it as the DEP number 1710.
We're going to. So based on that, does anybody have any questions or comments? And it's strictly on whether or not we're going to be closing out a DEP number based on some work that had been done. I don't see any. So I'll entertain a motion to continue this. I'm going to say we'll continue to 311. If we can figure something out and make it easier, we will.
I put a motion that we continue 318, DEP number SC 1710555 to March 11th.
Okay, do I have a second on that?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
All right.
Thank you. Okay. I'm sure we'll be in touch, so we'll figure this out. Figure this out. There's a little confusion here. The next item on the agenda is 314 Plymouth Street.
Again, I would recommend that you use the DEP number for future references.
DEP number, yeah.
That
Okay,
is the source
Paul, do you mind
facility
grabbing
that
that?
we continue.
This particular is the second or third DEP number that's on this particular site, and we did vote a couple of weeks ago to close this out, that no work was done, but we didn't sign the paperwork.
Oh, so we're just gonna sign it? All right.
Two of them I already saw. Is that it? Let's see. No, it's the other one. It's gotta be that one. That one we don't have. No, I'm sorry. I just want to point out in your request,
That's not my request, but I will listen.
your request says 318 Plymouth. I'm looking at your request. This happens to be the wrong one.
Can I
but-
stand up for a second and look at
Sure,
it?
absolutely.
So I think we put,
We need,
we were supposed to put, oh, see, that's not,
okay. I don't know what you're supposed to put.
okay, so on our, this is what she already did, but we wrote it as currently known as 318. It wasn't at the time, it was 0 and 314. That's the problem, because at the time, it wasn't divided, and at the time, addresses weren't
Okay,
submitted.
so you're going to coordinate
With Caitlin.
with Caitlin
This part, yes.
on what you're proposing us to sign off on.
Because I don't believe,
Because, I'm just going to have you go back to the mic, so we can hear.
Sorry, yep.
Because I think, well, I know, you have on this particular site,
Yep.
map 63, lot 6C,
Yep,
and,
we need to revise that.
yeah,
It should match the original request.
yes, but I think the original request is like 228 at the registry of deeds, so yeah, this paperwork doesn't need to be
And that can,
fixed.
yeah, oh, I agree. Thank you.
And do we have the paperwork for 314?
We don't, but we're going to use this paperwork. Okay, so I'm all set with you. So
Yes,
I'm going to
thank
be looking,
I will-
I got a motion on 314, well, we did 314 before.
Yeah.
We just neglected to sign the paperwork, so we're going to sign that. I'm going to put 314 on the top of this so that there's no confusion.
Maybe put the DEP number 0541.
Is this 0541?
Yep.
This might have ended up, okay, Paul. She might have all of the DEP filings in this one street, so maybe that's why we don't know which one we're signing. I'm going to put a note on this one. Okay, put that back. Okay, what I'm going to do is go back to our original hearings, now that we have Mr. Collins. That's going to be in 16 Old Summit Street, DEP number 1710588. Before you get going, Mr. Collins, we did open this hearing, but we had a little mix-up with paperwork last week, and I am going to read, I believe, the hearing notice into the record. Is that in there? Is that fine, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I put it right there. Town of Halifax Conservation Commission notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given a public hearing conducted by the Halifax Conservation Commission under provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 164 of the Town of Halifax Wetlands Protection Bylaw on Tuesday, February 11th, 2025, at 7 p.m. at the Halifax Town Hall, to consider a notice of intent submitted by Collins Civil Engineering of West Bridgewater, Mass. on behalf of Lillian Davis of Kingston, Mass. for a proposed upgrade of a residential septic system at 16 Old Summit Street, Halifax, Mass. shown on Assessors Map 98, Lot 8. Copies of the filing are available at the Conservation Commission office at the Halifax Town Hall per request via email peggy.salter@halifaxmass.org or calling 781-590-3872 or 781-293-6738. Mr. Collins.
Good evening. For the record, George Collins, registered professional engineer from Collins Civil Engineering Group out of West Bridgewater, representing Lillian Davis for notice of intent associated with the upgrade of a septic system. This property is located on the south side of Old Summit Street. There's a wetland shown in green that runs along the easterly side of the property and the southerly side of the property. I also show the 50-foot buffer zone shown in orange, and the 100-foot buffer zone is shown in magenta. Basically, one thing that dictated the position of the septic system was the existing on-site well. I know it's an additional discussion with the project, but basically the house was damaged, I believe, in a fire, and they're going to be keeping the old foundation but rebuilding the house. But they do want to keep the well, so because of the on-site well at this location, that forced us to push this system to the south towards the wetland. We went out and did test pits, had very, very favorable soil conditions, and we proposed a concrete flow diffuser type septic system. And we did get this approved by the Board of Health. We do have this red dashed line is the proposed work limit. And then, a couple of things to be noted that, again, when I met with the client, obviously it was obvious that the house was burnt. The first thing I asked him, what are you doing with the house? Are you taking the house down? Are you keeping the well? That type of a thing. She says, we're keeping the well, and we're going to use the old foundation and just build on top of the old foundation. So at that point, based off of that scope of work and no additional earthwork associated with the house, I thought it was appropriate just to apply for the septic upgrade. So that being said, if you one thing, if there are concerns with the commission about the construction of the house, like with the location of vehicle fueling, stockpiling of materials, that type of a thing, perhaps we can condition some of that, so we can, if they were going to have overnight vehicle parking, perhaps we could have them up here, or vehicle refueling, that type of a thing, or any hazardous material storage could be actually, put up in this area out of the way. But any type of conditions that the commission thought would be appropriate associated with the stick building of the house. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions at the...
Where was the old septic tank? Where it's the new one's going?
Right here. This is the old, it's like there's a leaching trench right here. So there's an existing septic tank and a leaching trench here. So basically a similar location. But again, what are we? We're 118 feet from the existing well. And just with the kind of strange wetland line here wrapping around on two sides, it pushed us to the west, and then the well pushed us to the south, so we really didn't have a lot of options.
Is that I'm just trying to get my bearings, is that the White House that was there? Was it white?
I apologize, I do over to...
That I know.
Because I remember
it's a
going
second
to-
house in...
Yeah, I think it was It looks pretty bad.
Before we continue on, we had Ecosystems review the plan. He's got a very lengthy report with photographs. We also did a site visit. I just want to add this to the record. This was from Brandon Fana from Ecosystems. He addressed it to myself. It indicates that it's a nice thorough report attached. Here are the bullet point summaries. The wetland delineation is fine. The septic repair project is fine. The house is partially demolished. We question how to get rebuilt because it's not as whole as it made to look on the plan. If the house is going to remain on the current footprint, fine. Doesn't make a lot of sense. If it's getting rebuilt on a different footprint, then they might want to include that in the NOI. There's a ton of junk strewn about the site, and we have questions about the current yard is in line with how the yard looks in aerial photographs from past years. It looks a little bigger today, but I might be wrong, but I might be right. So the report basically indicates that the wetlands line as depicted on the plan is okay, and the buffer line zone is okay. I just want to point out that some members and the agent, we went out and did a site visit, terrible day, but at the wetlands line, which we agreed with, there's a sharp drop. So there doesn't appear to be any confusion on the wetlands line. We did notice that there was an extensive amount of debris. And I think the general consensus was, and Paul, you can correct me if I'm wrong, debris is debris. A lot of the wood it looked like some of the materials that were taken down from the house. I think the commission is looking at making sure that there's nothing that contains any motor oils, gases, or fuels that are going to be within the 100 foot. All right. Actually, you had the 50 foot, but it's those areas. It would be on. Where's your north arrow?
Right here.
Okay, so it would be on the westerly side of the property. There appeared to be a lot of debris on the westerly side of the property, up further, Judge.
Okay.
Yeah, right up in there,
yeah.
With power equipment, lawnmowers, tractors, all that stuff. We much appreciate. The 100 foot is very close. If that's moved out of that, we are going to be looking to make a condition of that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of housekeeping that needs to be done there.
Well, we were we know that, but we were looking at those items that could be detrimental to the wetlands. Mm-hmm. The wood isn't. I don't know if they're going to reuse the wood. That's beyond our control. So we're not going to. At least I wouldn't ask you to remove any of that until that's all determined. Paul, any questions?
No, you just spoke about the equipment.
You did address, we did get a comment, and not partially from the review, but from the building department, as to the structure itself and being within 100 foot. And it appears, and I think we have a general consensus when I spoke with the agent this morning, that our only concern, and we are going to condition it, is we're not concerned with rebuilding the house. There was some mention that footings and stuff are going to remain. I don't know if that's possible, but we are going to, as part of our conditions, if there's going to be any excavation, equipment excavation, within the 100 foot, that you notify the commission prior. Any handwork, if you want to dig a hole for footings, that's fine. But anything within the 50 to 100, we just want to be notified.
Yeah, and I did specifically ask my client about the deck footings, and the plan was to actually reuse the deck superstructure. And so, anyways, I'm just.
That's not.
But yes, but in the event that any machine digging is done associated with the house.
Hand digging is fine. Can they reuse the old footings? I doubt it. What they did, that house is probably 60, 80 years old. Mm-hmm. Are they in the ground 4 feet? Are they 7'6" on center? So I do expect, so all we're looking at, and we'll put that in our order of conditions, that that any excavation within 100, that we be notified.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Anybody here on 16 Old Summit Street? Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I would be looking for a motion to approve the notice of intent for 16 Old Summit Street for the standard order of conditions
And with the special order of
and the
conditions.
special order of conditions reflecting what the comments that I just made. You could just so move if you want.
So move, yeah.
So, we have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, I'll go to a vote. There's no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Where did I leave off at?
340 Summit. 340 Plymouth Street.
Okay, we've got 318 Plymouth. We're back at 314 Plymouth Street.
We did 314.
But the problem is, this is, okay, we did that. So now we're back to 340 Plymouth Street.
Yep.
And 340 Plymouth Street is we decided to keep this on the agenda until we get that driveway repaired, which I don't believe it has been repaired, Mrs. Elgin. Okay, so we'll continue on. I think most of the flooding situations you've had have been kind of under control. So we'll see what happens in the spring rains, and we will keep this on until the driveway is repaired. Yes, sir.
Tom Alger, 340 Plymouth Street. We've recently lost a tree because of the rains and everything. So I just want you to be aware that because of that flooding from the road into the yard, it's caused a tree to fall over because of the winds that we've had.
Okay, was this the tree you'd mentioned about a while ago?
No, this was recently.
In the backyard.
It's on the side between the house that we took down and our existing house.
Okay.
So I just wanted to point out, because of all that water that's coming in, it is causing, damage to the property.
Yeah, as you know, we're well aware of
Yes.
the water situation, and I know that we spoke about a tree, and I spoke with Highway. I'm not sure what they did, but I did speak with Highway. Did they do anything?
I did too.
Did they do anything?
No,
How they plan on?
they want to measure to see whose tree it is.
How long ago was that?
Maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay. We'll give it another week, and I'll follow it up with Steve. Is it, I go by there 100 times, but is it within the sidewalk area?
Yeah.
Okay. It's my recollection that Plymouth Street's a 50-foot right-of-way. So, was it you or someone else that was telling me who planted those trees years ago? On your side?
They planted those trees years ago, the town did.
Okay, on both sides?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you relay that to Highway?
Yep.
Okay, all right. I will follow it up, because if the town planted it, it should be their responsibility.
Did you notice the water at the end of Stop and Shop driveway? In front of the sign on the street, there's a wet spot there and when it rains hard, like it did the other day, it comes over onto our side and it comes down towards the drain, but it goes behind the drain and into the driveway.
You get two entrances to Stop and Shop, so this would be the one closest to you, just that I got it right. The water comes down.
Comes across the street. There must be a low spot there.
Okay.
And when it
Just
fills
so
up with
that I know
water-
where I am, if I'm coming out of Stop and Shop parking lot, I take a right or take a left. Now, we made adjustments, or they made adjustments in the curbing throughout that whole area.
I know.
So they could raise that up to get the storm water into that basin. So, was it there for a long length of time, or was it there just a short time across the street?
Ever since they done it.
Well, since they did it, but the water is shielding over, you said. It should be, it's running over.
Yeah.
Was it there for a long period of time or just a short period of time? It just, basically, if you get these heavy amounts of rain that are coming, sometimes it takes a few minutes to find its right way to go.
Yeah, no, it puddles. It puddles. And then when the puddle gets full, it comes back over onto our side and down into the driveway. It goes behind the drain.
Okay, it might be nice if you could grab a picture, and we'll share that with Highway.
Okay.
Because you live out there all the time. I go to Dunkin' once a day, so I didn't see it. Yeah, if you take a picture, make sure you got curbing in there, and he can look at it. But I know that, you know, I gave Highway Department all my thoughts. He was out there. I saw him with all the...
Oh, I know.
Okay, so to make sure that we got everything going the right way. So, okay. Next item on the agenda, which I'm going to hold, we got a full board, is the conservation fees. We need to review those based on the amount of filings, the amount of work that it's taken to get a lot of these projects through. Next item on the agenda is new extension form. I didn't see that in the folder, so we're going to hold off on it. And that extension form is because once someone submits a notice of intent, the Wetlands Protection Act gives us a limited amount of time to process it. And where we have the review process now, where we're sending everything out, we could not be in compliance with the Wetlands Protection Act. So we come up with a new form that someone's going to sign and gives us a little extra leeway to get everything done. That hopefully will be in the 11th folder. I'm going to do the agent's report. 314 Plymouth Street, status of the enforcement issue. We don't have an update. We took a vote last week in the last meeting to release that enforcement order that was on there, which we have. And I think between now and our next meeting, we're going to try to come up with our next course of action on that particular project. And we did discuss that with Rebecca. Did you want to address that?
Oh, no, I wanted to ask, did you issue the cease and desist?
Okay, yeah, if you don't mind, you got to get up.
My question is, did you actually issue any sort of paperwork for that project 314?
Yes, we did.
You did?
Yes.
Who did you? Do you know who you sent it to?
Yes, we sent it to RJ&J or whatever the initials are, and we sent it to Casco. Is it Casco?
Yes.
Casco. The record owners, we sent it to both. We actually sent them some nice letters, and then we finally sent them an enforcement letter.
But that's what I was wondering, because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, if you reach out to Rebecca or the office, so we'd be more than happy to provide. And we were concerned, or we were, we didn't get any response from
No,
them.
I understand.
Okay? And we found that the enforcement order that was issued, I don't have it and I haven't seen it, but that enforcement order, I think, was issued incorrectly. We voted last week to withdraw that particular one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Having said that, we are going to come up with a plan.
Understood. Understood, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. 76 Pratt Street. Did anything I miss? Anybody?
Thank you.
76 Pratt Street, just want to update the board that the owner is coming in at a 311 meeting with a restoration plan for the work that he did in the riverfront area. And the next one is 21 Beechwood Road. Do we have?
22.
I'm sorry, okay, 22 Beechwood Road. Dick, you're Joe?
Yeah.
You're Joe? That you?
Yes.
Okay. Do you mind?
I'm Dick Virgo, the president of Halifax Mobile Home Estates, and we're here at your request.
To bring the board up to date, I think we discussed it. We received a complaint a month or so ago
Yep.
that there was some tree cutting within the wetlands. Well, I don't want to say it was in the buffer zone, but I think it was in the wetlands. I think we can probably agree on that. We reached out, and I spoke with you, you called me back.
Yeah.
There's been some issues as far as you haven't been able to attend.
There was a little confusion beginning of the month.
Okay, well, what happened is that under our guidelines, we have to request that you come into one of our meetings, all right? That's protocol. You're here. I'll discuss this with the board. We found that these trees, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to say it was about 8 of them. So either 6 or 8.
7.
Okay, all right, so I'm close. So, okay. I was out on site, I didn't count them, so. what happened was, these were, to say the least, 24, 26, 8-inch pine trees. And based on the location of the pine trees, to me, they would have been hazard. But the problem is that we have a Wetlands Protection Act, and that any work that's done, especially in the resource area or swamp, whatever you want to call it, does require a filing. And that can be a little cumbersome. You file a notice of intent, you have to get an engineered plan, you got to have a representative, you got to pay all the appropriate fees. In my conversations with the agent, we didn't feel as though that the work that you did was in malice. We thought that the trees that you took down probably could have been dangerous, but we have a process for that. And in our discussion, and I'll talk to the board about this, is that I think what we'd like to do, to keep it simple, is for you to provide us with a restoration plan, which is going to consist of 6 or 7 trees that you want to replant in the resource area, and that would be in lieu of us taking any action.
Okay.
Let me just explain to the board. When we did go out there, trees were very close, probably 35 feet maybe from one of the mobile units. One of the trees, okay?
One of the trees, but
And
20 feet, most of them were 20 feet away.
well, they might have been 20 feet away from the other unit. When we were at 22, so I don't know the number next to us.
24.
They were reasonably close. I didn't really look at the stumps to see if they were diseased or anything like that, but the tree should have come down, but maybe should have come down under one of the tree removal plans that you guys have done over the past few years. But having said that, as long as these guys are okay with it, we think that the simplest way is for you to come up with a plan. You'll have to hire someone to do a plan, but it's not an engineered plan, and just tell us where you want to put 6 trees.
And the type of trees that would.
And the type. I mean, I'm not going to tell you they got to be white pines, and they're going to be something that absorbs moisture. When you took down white pines, so I don't think you want to put white pines back up. But if you can get together with someone that can give us an idea as to what you want to plant, I don't know that we're looking for we're not going to be looking for an engineered plan, but if you come up with something from the park that says, because of what happened at 22 Beechwood, we are willing to put in whatever the trees are. You'll mark them. You can mark the area. We'll go out and take a look. And you're going to be required to make sure the trees live at least a year.
I have my tree man here. Maybe he could help me out with that one on a replanting.
I think so, yeah.
Is the board comfortable with that suggestion?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, especially it was near property, it was an emergency. They came in, told us we want to move these to the emergency. We would have let them walk, most likely anyway.
So you got a general consensus, and what I'm going to do is I'll ask for a vote that we allow you to come up with the restoration plan versus filing a notice of intent. So I'd be looking for somebody to make that motion.
I put a motion that we allow 22 Beechwood Road to
Do a restoration.
do a restoration plan to replant trees.
And they're going to be 7 trees.
7 trees.
7 trees. Do I have a second? Any discussion? Anybody here on this? Anybody want to make a comment? Okay.
Any concerns, any minimum?
Yeah, hold on. You got, okay. We're in the middle of a vote, so if you want to add something to the discussion, you can. You got to come to the mic. But the discussion's usually prior to us making a vote, so the discussion part of this is whether or not anybody here needs. If he's going to do a plan for you, that's fine. Okay, so in the middle of a vote, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. 3-0. So just so we're clear, again, come up with a plan. Plan can be a letter outlining where they're going to be, stake that area, notify the office. We'll come out and take a look at it. and then once you're done, we'll come out and take a look at it again. I don't expect you're gonna be doing anything in the next 60 or 90 days, but I would suggest that you have a plan to us in 30 days. You think you can, 30 days is fine? Okay, so you bring us a plan in 30 days, and then you can, at that point, you can let us know when you want to put them in.
So now in the future, we have to do house by house that borders the wetlands? Or can we do the whole park?
Okay. Those aren't individual lots, so we don't need a plan based on all the individual lots, okay? So the park is the park in the whole. So in that particular area, which I was kind of surprised, it's a wetland that's, well, it's not in the middle of the park, but it's in a place where I wouldn't have expected it. So to answer the question, yes, you need to take that area, wherever you're gonna go, and if you've got trees that are coming down, then you need to do a plan to let us know what you're going to do.
Okay.
Okay? I don't know at this point if they're going to require a notice of intent, but I think when you get ready, if you come in with a request for a determination of applicability, an RDA, the commission might be fine with that. But you got to remember, no trees in the resource area. That's the actual wetlands. And you should get somebody out there to kind of delineate. You know, this is the wetlands, this is the buffer zone. Okay?
But I think in our conversation we had, there was like 100-foot buffer,
Correct.
which would bring, the 100-foot would bring it into the middle of Beechwood Road.
Yeah.
So,
What the 100-foot buffer zone is just our jurisdiction. That's all. So from the edge of that area, and I'm going to say that all of the trees were within the resource area, basically in the swamp. They were in that swamp. And that's a totally different procedure when you do that. I mean, you need to come in, you need to have a report saying the trees have got some sort of disease, or the trees are defective, or the trees are a threat on the property, or the structure. So the key is stay out of the resource area.
okay,
So, anything else?
that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Bring to the board's attention, if anybody was going to the MACC conference, they need to have, provide that receipt to the office before they go. Was there anything else you guys had for me? Okay. Next item is going to be bills to be approved. Ed?
Put a motion that we pay the bills.
Okay,
Want me to go through each one or just general?
No,
Yeah.
pay the bills like you've been doing.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a second? I'm looking for a vote. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. You're welcome. Just signature on both of those. Next item, let's just finish signing. Put that back in that tray, so I don't take it home. They'll be looking for it tomorrow. Next item is meeting minutes for February 11th, 2025. I don't know if everybody's got a chance to review them, or if you want to move them off till the next meeting. I just want to point out, and I had to put a comment on there, that they had technical difficulties from, on Area 58, so the audio was gone, so these minutes are a replication from my notes and the agent's notes. So if everybody's comfortable, I'll look for a motion to
Approve the minutes?
approve the meeting minutes for February 11th.
I'm comfortable with it, so I'll put a motion that we approve the minutes for February 11th.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's sign off.
Hmm. 7:49.
Yeah, we're moving right along. In the crowd, I thought it would be. You'd be breathing heavy. That being done, it being 7:49, I'm looking for, right, 7:40.
17:49 still.
Is it the time? It being 7:49, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Paul? Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, motion to, yeah.
Adjourn.
I'll second that
Second.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.